What's up? Welcome to my next video. In this video I'm going to be drawing some more poses, and I'm doing the poses using the app Figureosity. And as I'm going through this, I'm also using the quick pose feature, and with the quick pose feature you can kind of set a pose and you have kind of a time limit. I think the time limit I chose for this is 2 minutes, and for this, the main purpose of this video is for me to kind of practice and show you an idea of how to do poses real quick using the shapes, like how right now I'm using the shoulder to make the arm, and how I'm using the circles to kind of put on top of each of the kind of like the oval shapes. And I kind of use the oval shapes to kind of figure out certain poses, which you'll see in some other poses that you'll see. But that when you're placing the circles, it gives you an idea of where to place the arms, and depending on the positioning of what the pose is. Right now I'm adding a chest in, and I had to sped up a little bit, but you can kind of but just enough to just kind of see what's going on. Now for this next pose, all these poses are random also, and this pose is kind of like a standing pose. And I did this the similar as the other one, where I'll start out with the head and I'll add the bean shape kind of thing for like the chest, and it kind of gives me the idea of where to place the rest of the body parts. And majority of the time I'll add that line in the middle to kind of pinpoint where the chest line will be, and that center line will also I'll have it go straight down even towards the abs also. And also, don't forget to make sure you check out Figureosity, because it's a really good tool to use. Now I'm putting the chest in. Also, if you want to see a tutorial on something else, just let me know in the comments, and don't forget to make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't. Now get the legs in on the side here. Now when I'm doing the legs, it's like it kind of just the top of the leg, I'm curving it in, and then when I get to the bottom, I'll drop off as a straight line, just to kind of it's kind of when you do like a curve and then drop into a straight line, it kind of forms the leg. But when you do it enough, you'll kind of see how it is. But that's kind of my way of doing it. Now for this one, I'm gonna start getting into it. I've also stopped the timer because this particular pose I wanted to get into a little bit more. Like, see where I put the circle. I wanted to put the circle in before I did the bean shape, only because I was going to try to. It's kind of a way of measuring the length of where I was gonna have the shoulder end up at. Sometimes I'll have the circle in first, and then I'll add the circle in later on, because I want to know where the shoulder is first before I get to the rest of the body, or the rest of the top of the body. And whenever I get to the bottom where the waist is, I use more of a square shape. And the square shape, the reason why I use a square shape for the bottom rather than doing another kind of a bean shape, I know sometimes you'll see artists use two bean shapes, one bean shape for the top and one bean shape for the bottom. But for me, when I use the square for the bottom and then I just curve around it when I'm finishing it off, it's kind of a way to know where to place the body in perspective, especially when the body is twisting in a different position. And sometimes I may draw the bean shape first, and then I'll add the square shape for the waist to kind of know where I guess where his butt will end up being in perspective, depending on where the body is. And I'm going around using a lot of curves for the muscle. It's always about curves. When you get the curve straight, then you can draw muscles all day. And getting hands in, fingers, I'm just doing boxes, and then later on filling it in with the fingers. And I'm doing all this with the with my blue pencil, only because, like I mentioned before, I don't like the smeariness of the regular pencil. I like to use the blue pencil, and then I later on transition into inks, where I don't have to worry too much about the page smearing or erasing, because the inks are black enough to show through those blues. Now I'm going in, I get where the eyes are, and I'm getting too detailed of the face, but I'm gonna do a head tutorial soon on how to draw the head from different angles using that plus method on the front of the face. Now this one, I like this one because this is one showing perspective, showing kind of what I was explaining before. So I do the head first, and then I do the bean shape afterwards, and then later on transition into the box shape, which you'll see here. So all I do is do the oval shape, then the line for the back, circle for the shoulders, and then there's a box right in the back. And I'm already placing the box. I'm drawing the box in kind of a 3-dimensional. Then I do cylinders for legs, but it's getting smaller as I go back because it's in perspective. So now I'm putting the arm in, and since the arm is leaning down, like because he's on the ground, I have to kind of use cylinders to kind of see where that the arm's going to end up. Didn't focus on the hand. I just put a triangle in for the hand, or like a partial triangle. And none of these are going to be finished poses. They're just gonna. This is just a base on what I do on a normal daily basis when I'm practicing poses. I'm just like this is all I do. Like all my sketchbooks, you'll mostly see a lot of these, more so than the full pieces. And almost all artists, even professional artists, this is how their sketchbooks look. I mean, just because you see the sketchbook that has all the fancy pieces and pieces that's fully done, like all this, out of the hundreds of sketchbooks, not every single sketchbook has full-on pieces. Like most of the sketchbooks look just like this. It's all practice stuff, but I know a lot of artists don't want to show their practice stuff. They want to show their full-on stuff, but that's the way it is. So I'm finishing this off. I think the timer is running out on this one. And what I like about this is you can it's the kind of way you get in practice in, because you can get that pose in quickly, and then timer goes on, the pose will end, you're going to the next pose, that timer end, you're going to the next pose, and it keeps you going. You can go through 20 of these, and even if you go through that 20, then you can just take those poses and rotate them, and then you have brand new poses because you're drawing them from another angle or another position, and you change to another angle. I think there's probably, you can probably get, I think maybe like 4, 5 or 6 different angles, and you're doing almost, let's say 10 poses, just almost 50 poses within just those, and then you have all the other poses that you haven't got to yet. But it's best to do the pose list, rotate them, and do them again from a different angle, and it's a good way for practicing. I'm getting a leg in. Sometimes you can do action lines also. I didn't really do action lines. I'm just going as I see it, using basic shapes to outline it. And when you master this part of posing, then you can go to the next step, which is adding the muscle in, which is what you saw in the thumbnail that I did. I added the muscle in. See, cylinder for the arms. It gets into the hand. It's always good to practice every day. It's kind of like working out. You still have to work out your hands and your mind. So it's like riding a bike. You have to keep on practicing every day. No matter how good you are, you still have to keep practicing. Even the best artists still practice. Getting in the head. I'm trying to finish off the feet. Now, don't forget that little the rib area goes right into the underarm. And that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and also check out Figureosity. Link is in the description. Take care.